Welcome back, everyone, and this is it. The final race, not only in the season, but in our series that has now spanned over 100 videos, 100 episodes. That is hard for me to believe that we've had a series that has run over 100 episodes. So that is a testament to all of the wonderful support that I get from you guys. So thank you very much for all of your support throughout not only this particular series, but all of the setup videos and so on that we have here on the channel. So now here we are, 4 drivers remaining, 1 race, winner take all at Homestead. And before we get to the race itself, let's take one final look at the playoff grid. You can see there are only 4 drivers left in these standings. So we'll be racing Jimmie Johnson, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch for the championship. And we already know Kyle Busch, with very few exceptions, is going to finish probably in the top 3, top 5. Kevin Harvick coming fresh off of a victory, so we know he's dangerous. And then, of course, Jimmie Johnson, who's been up there all season long, just as Kyle Busch has. So I got a feeling that we're going to have to, at minimum, finish on the podium. So a top 3 finish at minimum. And that is going to be very difficult to do starting from the rear in such a short race. So how are we going to do this? What are we going to do with the setup? These are all decisions that we're going to have to make, but we're going to have to make them very quick because it's time to head to Homestead. All right, folks, this is it. Our final version of the science project. And so here's what I did and did not do. On this particular setup, as you're looking it over on your screen, what I did is sort of made it similar to what we've been using all season long. What I did not do is I did not look back at our previous Homestead races to see what I had run there or to see where we had started in the race so that I could get a gauge of how quick we were versus the competition. And the reason I didn't do those things is I like the drama of this final race. I like to see if we're going to have enough speed to do what we need to do. And I have no idea if we're going to have that speed or not. We might come in 4th of the 4 championship drivers. I have no idea. But as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I have a strong feeling that we're going to have to finish at minimum top 3 in this race in order to have a shot at the championship, and we may very well have to win the race. So that's a tall order to pass 40 cars, or I guess 39 other cars, in order to get there in such a short race. So what I've done is, you can see the weight settings and the shock settings all look very normal for what we run. Spring settings, the one thing that's really going to hold us back is the front spring setup. It is set up for the car to be tight. That's to add some intrigue here and slow the car down some. I have 100 pounds of rear spring split, which is going to help some, but it will not overcome the front spring settings. The miscellaneous settings, I'm still using the very limited camber numbers, front sway bar. All of that looks very similar, and you can see the track bar is at 9.5 inches, which is a pretty standard setup for us as of late. So all of that looks pretty normal. Gear settings I didn't even touch. It was whatever the game gave us by default for the track. So this should be a lot of fun. I can't wait to get started. Let's run for a championship. All right, so here we go. Green flag at Homestead. Now, one thing I know I do not want is to be on the outside here because that's where everybody's going to run. So we're going to try to, wow, they're just opening up this bottom. And it's been long enough since we've run those other races at Homestead, with this being a one-time-a-year track, that I don't really remember how the races went other than I remember very clearly that they were fights, and we had an extremely difficult time doing it. So that's got me excited. Okay, right now I can't really see anything going into turn 1 because of the glare. All right, and right now I'm trying to relearn how to drive the track. We're up to 19th. That's great. That is exactly what we needed to have happen. And I'm trying to see how far can I drive it in before the car goes too far up the track. Now, the good news for us is if it's single file, then we can go all the way up to the middle of the track and really arc this thing in there and diamond the track mid-corner. Kind of like this. Go in low, let the car go all the way up the racetrack in the center, and then come off the corner with a big head of steam. However, if they're running too wide in front of us, like right there, you can see, try to leave just about a lane for the AI up there, or a little bit more. So we've got 35 laps to see what we can do here. Oh, look out, we got a slow car. Okay, we made it through that. Everybody is okay around us, which is what we care about, because we don't need any wrecks. We've had a few races here lately that have been full of wrecks, and we've gotten involved in at least one, if not multiple wrecks during the course of the event. We can't afford to have that happen here. We've got to get to the front. All right, here we go. Let the car drift up the track, back hard in the gas. This is a very awkward track to drive compared to the other 1.5 miles. Because it drives a little bit different, just different enough to make it interesting for you. It is a fun track, however, to drive on, no doubt. All right, so we're now into the top 10, which is amazing, in 6 laps, or about 5.5 laps, actually. Hard to believe that we're already in the top 10, but again, they're leaving that bottom wide open for us. So that's our passing lane. All right, so now as we're in 8th, I want to get to the front as soon as possible. I don't want to wait to the end and try to figure out how to get in front. Let's get up there as soon as we can. But you can see already, it's not going to be a cakewalk. We're going to have to work hard to get up there if we get enough speed to get there. Yeah, Daniel Suarez is running some nice laps, and we're having a hard time getting by him. I cannot see who is out ahead in the lead or in the top few spots, so I can't tell who we're fighting right now and where they are. But I do know that Daniel Suarez is not interested in us passing him. That part I can tell you for sure.
Still a car out there.
I'm going to use up all the track I can in the corners, trying to get up the speed. All right, there we go. We got a good run through the center. And all right, so we're clear 2 drivers there. We had just gotten by Suarez, and now we get by Kurt Busch as well. Oh, not a good corner there. All right, so Larson is in 5th. I see Kyle Busch immediately in front of him. That's, of course, one of our competitors. But I'm looking out for our other 2 competitors. All right, Jimmy Johnson I see up in front of this small pack, but I can't tell who's leading. Am I to believe that that is Harvick out there leading, and of course would be no surprise. Yeah, this car is just tight. This is going to be an immense struggle. If I can get the car to cut really nicely on corner entry, I have a good chance. But if I don't, then we're in trouble.
Hold the line. Hold your line.
All right, so we're here. Here's 2 of our competitors that we need to pass. All right, try to get back to the gas early. All right, so we're by Busch, at least for the time being. Now we need to be able to clear JJ. Try to slide up in front of Jimmy Johnson, and we did. Okay, great. They're not going to give up, though, so we're going to have to keep pushing as hard as we can. 35 lap race. We are just starting lap 13, so we got some time. The question really is, do we have the speed? And that is almost guaranteed to be Kevin Harvick out in the lead, way out there in front. So I'm going to try to use the high side some and use that increased banking up there to try to maintain as much speed as I can. We've got 22 laps to go. All right, we're obviously gaining on these, particularly the two guys immediately in front of us. So we're gaining on them. Now we're here, and I have to see what I can do as far as... All right, let's see if we can get... Oh, we got through that corner very nicely. Back to the throttle hard. All right, we're here now. I'm going to see if I can get it on the bottom.
Stay low. Hold your line. Clear.
All right, got to hang the bottom here.
Hold your line.
And, okay, we got by Larson. I see him in my mirror, but here they come back. Again, the high side is going to have the momentum. So I'm going to have to make sure that I can hang with them on the bottom and then somehow get an advantage on corner entry to slide up in front of them.
All clear.
All right, he gave me the all clear. I'm going to see if I can't slide up in front of them and complete the pass. There we go. Now we're going to have to keep that speed going because we got one more car to pass. Trying to stay in the gas as much as I possibly can. All right, looks like we're pulling away just slightly from the cars behind us. I'm using just a touch of brake on corner entry to try to settle the car and help it to rotate just a touch. But it is a very minimal brake, maybe about 10% brake. All right. Again, I'm pretty sure that's Harvick, even though I can't quite get a good glimpse at the car at this point. All right, we've pulled ahead of those behind us. They're still fighting it out back there. But again, if whoever that is leading out there, we are definitely not pulling in really close on them very quickly. They're running some very good laps. In fact, I'm not sure I'm closing on them at all. But, as always, I don't really want to use the leaderboard. I always like to do it visually, if at all possible, just for some added fun and suspense for the series. All right, so we got some traffic out here. Let's see how they get through the traffic. Wait, that almost looks like Truex out front. I don't remember seeing Harvick on our way through. All right, I don't know. And for right now, I don't guess it really matters. We're trying to get a victory. That's what we're after right now. All right, here's our old buddy, DJ Kennington. Here we go, 15 more laps. More lap traffic between us and the leader. Yeah, we're really into the lap traffic. 22 laps into the race, and we are definitely into it. So we're still chasing. I'm really starting to think that's Truex out there, which would mean that we are in the lead for the championship right now. Closing in on Sadler. And as long as he'll stay high, as long as all of these guys will stay high, I will happily take the bottom. All right, another lap car down. And you can see we're not closing in on the leader right now. So whoever it is running some great laps and seems to be doing a great job handling all the lap traffic as well. Because realistically, we've not really had any issues either with lap traffic. The real issue would come if you run up on them and they're racing 2x2. If you get 3 or 4 lap cars all racing hard side by side, that's when it really gets difficult. Because then there's nowhere to go if you're the AI. Now for us, we get to use this bottom groove that the AI don't seem to want to use. All right, 10 more laps. All right, so interesting that we're only getting about 8,500 RPMs at the end of the straightaway. Ouch. Okay, I'm not sure why the 34 car had any reason to do that. That makes no sense at all to me. All right, so we're going to press A right here a couple of times and get to the leaderboard. And yes, it is Truex out there. So what that means is we are actually in the lead for the championship. Because we've got Kyle Busch is the closest competitor to us, and he is in 5th. So I'm not sure what happened to Harvick. Apparently at some point we passed him. All right, so not bad at all. And now you can see Jimmy Johnson has hopped into the number 5 spot. So now I'd still like to win, no doubt. But not that worried about it right now. We're going to keep pressing. We've got 7 laps to go. But there's no real reason to worry about the victory because we are well ahead of where we need to be on the track. All right, we'll go ahead and get rid of the leaderboard since we don't really need that anymore. So it appears as though my projection that we're going to need to finish top 3 in order to win the championship turned out to be about right. Looks like 4th would have done it. So we're going to lap well up into the mid-20s. Wow, so 28th to Benedetto, and I'm guessing 27th right in front of him. That's a lot of cars to get lapped in a very short race. Appreciate the 33 pulling down and making it difficult for me to pass. All right, the final few laps are winding down. So Truex is making a point here that he could have very easily been the champion had he been in the Final Four, but unfortunately, circumstances did not have that. It was not in the cards for him.
Steady. Outside clear.
So there's 25th place Reagan. So yeah, a lot of slow cars at the back that are running slow enough to get lapped this quickly into a race.
Still a car out there. Clear, clear.
All right, we can definitely see Truex just out in front of us, but he's running great laps.
Go fast and sound. Take it.
So we're going to run it as hard as we can to try to see if we can catch him. But unfortunately, it looks like he's just got too much speed. He's messing around with this lap car, which has slowed him up a lot. But now that he's clear of Busher,
Just one more lap.
all right, last lap.
All clear.
And now we're close enough we can even see the position above his head just for a moment.
Hold your line.
All right, so here we are, the final corner, and we've done it. We come home second, but that is plenty good enough to bring home the title. So we'll hit continue. So fourth place was Kyle Busch. That was our nearest competitor, so we did turn out to be right. He had to finish top 3 in order to win the title. All right, we'll go ahead and pick up our winnings. $23 million overall. And we will do it by 2 points. We bring home the title over Kyle Busch. And then, oh wow, Kevin Harvick. He must have been involved in a wreck or something. Maybe he was one of those at the beginning of the race as we were coming through the field. They got caught up against the wall on the outside and lost a lot of position. That must have been him, because that's the only thing I can figure is why he lost 20 points on that. Wow. So our championship trophy for 2017, Knee Pit Gaming. I like the sound of it. So that completes our Truck Championship, Xfinity Championship, and now the Monster Energy Cup Championship. All right, we ended up with the fastest lap, which seems odd because we didn't have anything for Truex there once we got clear of the rest of the competitors. There we go. Hopefully your hearing is still intact. Mine is barely intact. Oh, we did not complete all the incentive goals. Man, we'll have to console ourselves. And here we go, a message from Brad K.
Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series champion. How does that sound? Congratulations, you beat some of the best. I gotta say though, I feel like I deserve some of the credit. Ah, just kidding. You earned it, kid.
All right, so we pick up a couple of achievements, start of something great, and best of the best. All right, so now that the season is over, it's time to take a look at your contracts and sign with a team for next year. Well, I don't really see much point in doing that. We've come here to win championships. We've done that in all 3 series. So at this point, we would just be defending a championship, and not sure it's worth it at this point. I think we've gotten what we came to get out of the game. As I mentioned at the very beginning, thank you very much for joining me and all your support throughout this series and for this game in general, with not only the career mode series, but also with all of the setup videos, and it's really been great. I've had a lot of fun playing the game. Now it's time to see what's next, so we'll leave it here. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned for more Knee Pit Gaming.